Hey, Ragtime Gang. I'm back with a new comic review, and this time we're going to be talking about an indie comic book. And speaking of indie comics, I make one myself. Red Knight 1 and 2 is available at manospublishing.com in print and digital. Also, let's get back to work. Now, as I mentioned, we have a indie comic book we're going to be talking about this week, and it is none other than American Dreams 1 and 2. And this is written and created by Daniel Caliban, and the artist is Dodi Aka. And this is from Short Fuse Media. Now, a lot of creators, when they go back to the past to kind of create the origins of the superhero, a lot of them go to the 60s, or more specifically, often to the 30s, because that's where they actually were in literature. They got their starts. But Daniel does something interesting. He goes one step further. He goes to 1900, which is an interesting idea because that is when America was kind of building. It's been a few years, been a few decades since the Civil War. Innovation is starting to take forth all over America, and we have people like Edison and Tesla and the Rockefellers and all these people kind of striving for the new inventions. We got the automobile coming up. We got radio and not television so much, but they're developing the idea. There's film, there's radio, there's the trains are getting better. Innovation is really starting to take forth. At the same time, that's when the immigrant boom was really starting to hit. And Jake is our protagonist. He is a Jewish immigrant in the Lower East Side, excuse me. And he is just trying to make his way and, create a life for himself. While at the same time, we got J.P. Morgan. He's funding Edison to create this new project that is supposed to be a new energy source. And of course, he steals some of his stuff from Tesla because of course he did. And meanwhile, Jake's sister is working for Houdini, who is performing in town. Now, we cut to a couple of scenes further. The tension kind of mounts as Edison starts his project. At the same time, the gang that Jake is involved with is feuding with another gang. There's a big rumble at the same time that the experiment's happening. And the experiment kind of happens in the background here and kind of explodes all over the place, and bolts hit some of the guys fighting and gives them superpowers mid-rumble. And Jake kind of knocks a guy across the field, and starts flying. And that's pretty new and exciting and crazy for him. So he actually just takes off and kind of sits on the Statue of Liberty and decides, okay, what am I going to do now? That's issue 1. And issue 2 picks up right from there, where he wakes up from a dream thinking, oh man, that's crazy, I had superpowers. No, wait, I am on the Statue of Liberty. I did have superpowers, and he goes to fly. Thankfully, he wasn't dreaming about the superpowers, otherwise that would have been a messy start to his first day. Anyway, he kind of tries to decide what to do about this new thing. Should he tear down the unjust walls of society? Should he help people specifically? He doesn't know. So he decides to do what anybody would do, is I'm just going to play it cool and go to work. And unfortunately for him, work is terrible. This is pre-unions. And Fitzpatrick owns this place at this factory in the garment district, and he works his people horribly, like cattle and slaves, and just he pays them barely anything. He forces them to work all day. And a fire starts because he just threw a cigar when he went to go take a break, because he obviously earned one. He locked the doors, though. This actually happened in real life. This is one of the things that was one of the precursors to having unions in this country. Because here's the funny thing. Rich and powerful people aren't just going to treat people well because they're nice. They kind of have to be forced to do it. Otherwise, they will treat people awful. And that's what happens in this. That's when, of course, he decides to use his superpowers, saving a whole mess of people and knocking out Fitzpatrick. That's when we go to Houdini. And Houdini seems to be making this suggestion of making a show of it. And I imagine that's probably what this cover kind of is suggesting. And I think we're going to get a little bit of like, Amazing Spider-Man, Amazing Fantasy number 15, where like, hey, I'm going to do kind of show about this, which actually is really cool because that connects to a lot of the origins of Superman specifically, because, a lot of the early superheroes were modeled after like circus strongmen of the day, and that's kind of where this came from. So the origins are really nicely added in here. I enjoyed both of these issues. I would definitely give them both a 5 out of 5 Ram chips. Let's see. He still hasn't appeared in costume yet. I imagine that's going to happen in issue 3. That's supposed to be released sometime this year, hopefully spring, from what I understand. You can buy this for print and digital off of the Short Fuse Facebook and website, from what I understand. So, hey, have you checked out this comic? If not, take a look. I do recommend it. If you have read it, let me know in the comments below. And if there are any kind of like indie comics that you're digging, also inform me. I'll see if I can check them out. So, hey, I'm everywhere, pretty much, because it's the internet in 2020. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can support this channel and my writing at Patreon for just starting at $1 a month. And like I said, Red Knight and my novel, Davida, are both available at manospublishing.com. Well, I think that's it for now. Push the button, Lindsay.